guys, it's the Holy Hour. Welcome to the All Cure podcast. This is Gavin. Thanks so much for joining us again, or for the first time. If you've been looking for a Cure podcast, you're in the right spot. And I hope everyone's doing well out there. It's been a rough couple of weeks for sure. Who knows what's going to be going on in the world by the time this thing actually posts. The time of recording it, sounds like the damn Civil War is about to happen again. We got nuclear missiles that could come flying around any minute now. So all kinds of wonderful things out there in the world. But like I said, hopefully by the time this gets posted, everything will be roses and sunshine again. I just want to talk about The Cure, man. Is that so much to ask? Just like this band, I want to just talk about The Cure. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we got this going. I'm on vacation actually, coming to you from a window right now. It's just me, my wife, and the kid down here in Gulf Shores, looking out at the ocean. It's fucking beautiful, and that's gotta make me feel better, right? And they got up super early, of course, because that's what kids do. And I was just kind of getting things together. We're here with some friends, and we got here first, so we got the whole place to ourselves for at least a day, and it's pretty sweet. He's out there running around. I can see him from the window with my wife, so it's pretty magical, and I'm feeling good about that. So gotta enjoy a nice, beautiful view of your wife and child running around on a beach. But so yeah, aside from that, you know, I said the Cure podcast, and it's been kind of my quest to find more Cure on the internet podcast related, which is, we've been joking forever that it's strangely enough there isn't much out there. So I thought I'd give you a heads up. I did find two things, one of which I know a little bit about, the other I have no clue about. But I found two new, occasionally I'll just punch in like The Cure on iTunes search or something. I always find my podcast on iTunes. There's tons of outlets out there, of course, so maybe there are some more ones out there. So please send me a message if there are actual Cure themed shows out there. I want to hear them, you know. This lo-fi DIY slapstick shit that I'm doing, it can't be the best representation of a Cure podcast, but I'm trying, man. I'm trying. And but yeah, I found one, and that's what most of them are, little segments I found on Triple J, the Australian radio station, which is awesome station. Triple R, I believe, is even cooler now, maybe. I don't know. And I think maybe like Triple R is more based out of Melbourne and Triple J is Sydney, but I think maybe in this day and age you can get all of anything. I could stream them. I should listen to them more over here, but as a kid, I always used to get lots of cool, like, live at the wireless off of Triple J and stuff. And anyone that doesn't know me, I'm a huge fan of Australian culture, music, everything in general. Wonderful people. May even be checking into their immigration policies soon. But Triple J, cool radio station, and they have J-Files, and it's just like where they do, and it seems like older episodes on there are longer, but they're getting real short for some reason. Anyway, there's a Cure episode on there, and it's about 20-30 minutes maybe, so not super short. Well, that's pretty short by my standards, but not ridiculously short. So it's really cool. Go check it out. You can find that on iTunes. It's a J-Files, just a Cure episode, and it's nothing shocking as far as new content or anything, but it's cool just that it's very slick and put together really well, and has interviews with Robert and stuff, so some cool stuff just to hear him, topics intercut with his actual opinions on it and such. So that's cool, mixed in with the real sound bites of the music, and they have a little Cure trivia that's pretty easy and goofy, but yeah, worth a quick listen and get you pumped up to talk or listen to The Cure. And the second one I found, but I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, so maybe I will in this beach week here, but on YouTube there's some Gothcast channel, and that's the name of like the podcast is Gothcast, and it's not all Cure, but it looks like episode 1 is Cure themed, or the topic is The Cure, and then just on first glance it looks like there's a couple reoccurring Cure topic episodes, but otherwise it's just all goth stuff in general. And but yeah, the first one's like Cure. I think there's like an early years Cure one, and then like a 90s Cure, and maybe like my 3 favorite Cure albums. Guess which ones will be on the Gothcast favorite. But of course, Wild Mood Swings, right? So yeah, go check that out. I'll check it out too. Maybe we'll touch base again and see what opinions of the Gothcast are. So just a shout out to the show I've never even heard, Gothcast. Well done. You did a Cure topic. So yeah, definitely send them my way if you stumble across any more. But that's not today's topic. I'm just sitting out here, and I was thinking the future. We can't get all bogged down in all this negativity that's going on in the real world. We gotta look to the future, and we gotta do that for the Cure too. So I thought it'd be great at some point to just really do a focused thought on the 2 new songs that got debuted on the last tour, on the 2016 tour. We were lucky enough to hear 2 songs that have not been recorded or released as far as we know. And those 2 songs are called It Can Never Be the Same and Step Into the Light. And I think a lot of us that saw shows on the last tour were very happy to get that as a surprise and a treat. And yeah, very cool just to, because the Cure doesn't do that very often. It's not a very common thing for Robert or any version of the Cure over the 40 years almost history of the band that they play songs that you don't know yet at the live shows. It's very rare, it seems. Maybe somebody else can clarify that from the older tours, but at least from Wish Up, none of the shows. I think barely saw a couple before the actual album had come out, the self-titled album at Coachella. We saw them play End of the World, and yeah, and a couple of songs from that one, the lead-off tracks and the closing ones off of that. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. And I don't even, maybe on the math, I need to double-check that. But, like, even In Orange, was that recorded? I think that show might have been, they had to have, like, written, like, Just Like Heaven by that point. Point being, if they have a song like that and they're still not playing it until it's officially released, it's clearly something he doesn't normally like doing. Which for good reason. They don't really know it, but you think they would test out some new songs on the band. Anyway, so it's hard to say why, they chose it. I mean, maybe there's no real intentions of recording them ever, or, it's hard to say, but I'm glad they did it, and I think everybody got a good chance to hear them because they played both the songs on quite a few of the live shows. It wasn't just like a 1 or 2 nights kind of thing. It was a pretty good chunk of the shows. It was part of the set list. I got to see them play both of them in Charlotte, surprisingly enough. They're the only 2 that broke the singles mold or theme for the show that we saw in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I don't believe they played either in Atlanta. So I was glad that one of the 2 shows I saw, that I got to hear them. And I had seen, I guess we'll lead off with It Can Never Be the Same. That seems to be the one everyone's kind of gravitated towards and seems a little more of the heavy hitter of the 2. And I had heard about them, because the Charlotte show was a little later in the tour, so I saw some YouTube clips of it before going to the show and seeing them in person. And so I had a little bit of a heads up of the tone and saw them, but I didn't really overkill it until I saw them live. And so it was out there. I mentally prepared myself for it, but it's a great song. I really dig it, and I dug it live. It was one where the melody was like super catchy. I felt like I had it stuck in my head even as I was leaving the show. And even Donald, the big critic of the new or later stuff, anything later, didn't have any real negative words to say about either song. So that was nice to maybe he just knew it would break my heart too bad, so he was being soft on me. But yeah, I really dug it live, and it's a weird song. Just looking at the specific song of It Can Never Be the Same, it starts out with like a very kind of aggressive and heavier sounding intro. And if anybody's heard me ranting about the self-titled album and 413 Dream, the 2 latest releases from The Cure, kind of my argument is that they keep going with this like heavier sound, and I kind of miss the softer side of The Cure. And 413 Dream definitely has more of it, like Underneath the Stars and stuff. You can tap back into some of that good emotional Robert that I love so much. But this song starts out with something that sounds very like could be either one of those albums. Even though I super dig the intro, I really like it. And then it snaps, and I love when it breaks and goes right into the verse. And it's just really cool bass line, of course, as always. Nothing super complex by any means, just the fucking tones and the simplicity of it's brilliant. Never fails with those bass lines. And this one's no exception by any means. And so it goes right into that, and the vocal melodies right on, and it's just got a cool feel. Doesn't really break away from the verse much, just song structure wise, if you don't mind me nerding out on the song structure. The actual "It Can Never Be the Same" is kind of just the tag of the chorus there that really brings it around, but doesn't make it jump out or anything, but it doesn't really need to, because that verse is so good, and over the drums really stand out, so it's a cool just rhythm and a melody through the whole thing. So I really dig it. It's a very emotional song, and it's hard to say because it's like I don't know where it came up, or I don't remember what I read it on, but somehow it got out there, and it's just everyone kind of just accepted it. So there's got to be something to it, but it's rumored, I guess would be the best word, or just somebody threw out there that it's about Robert's mother passing away. And like I said, it's hard to say where or like how much truth could be to that. I don't know. I don't really recall reading a interview or anything with him flat out saying that. But it doesn't really matter, I guess is the point, is because clearly the lyrics are about loss and moving on or not moving on, and pretty blatant really in that great Robert lyric way where he kind of says it all but doesn't say it that distinctly, and so it's just definitely seems about some kind of loss for sure, whether it be his mother or someone close to him. Who knows what the actual story is, but that's the beauty of it, is that you can associate it, for better or worse, with anything you're feeling. And this song just really nails it and carries that feeling and that emotion through the whole thing. And I think why everyone kind of gravitates it and takes that to heart is because it really does seem like a song that means a lot to Robert, of course. I mean, I'm sure they all do, but visibly emotional while performing it. There's a couple clips and stuff and stories from people on the tour of him getting very worked up while singing it, in tears basically at some point, and even leaving the stage early or right as the song ends. And that's, clearly something that just makes the song hit even harder. We all think very fondly of this guy at this point. We don't want to see him that sad. So it's got to mean something really personal, and I think just the fact that they are performing the song before having recorded it shows that it means a lot to him, and it's a song that he wants to play. And the title's even on his guitar. That's kind of strange, right? How many great songs they have, and the title is sticker or painted on his guitar. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And along those lines of the emotional side, we got a great email from Christine, and I'm going to go ahead and read that for you real quick now.
Last year, 2016, was such an exciting year to be a Cure fan. I'm so happy that we still get surprises and new songs. I've been a fan for over 30 years and going to their shows for over 20 years, and it never gets old. My goal last year, when the tour was originally announced, was to go to as many shows as possible, since you never know when it'll be the end. I managed to make it to 16 shows, 12 in North America and 4 in UK. I really enjoyed the 2 new songs debuted in 2016. Step Into the Light is the more upbeat of the 2 songs. It's catchy, but seems to have a deeper message against blind faith and living in fear. I didn't have a deeper connection to the song, but really do like it. It Can Never Be the Same was the one that I really connected with. I wasn't at the first show that they played it at in New Orleans, but heard it via Periscope and YouTube. I ended up hearing it at 10 of the other shows I went to. The rumor was that the song was written about the passing of Robert's mother. True or not, that struck a chord with me, having lost my own mother, and the song quickly became one of my favorites, making me cry several times while listening to it. Other Cure songs can make me emotional as well, particularly Pictures of You, but something about this one just hit me. It's true that when someone very important to you dies, it can never be the same after that. Sometimes a song hits you and you can pinpoint the reason. With It Can Never Be the Same, it was easy to connect to with its theme of loss. I've sadly experienced a lot of loss of people very close to me in my life. After having a couple of personally hard years, the Cure tour in 2016 really helped me put some things into perspective, and I was determined to enjoy every moment. Hearing new and rare songs made it even more special. I'm always amazed when my favorite band manages to surprise me. After the tour was over, I settled back into real life, and It Can Never Be the Same kept creeping back into my head, and I listened to it a lot. I ended up getting a tattoo of the song title on my left arm. I already had the C from the Wish logo on my left wrist. I put a matching tattoo of a song title from my favorite Twilight Sad song from last year, It Never Was the Same, on my other arm. I like the symmetry of those two song titles. I am really hoping that these two songs get an official release someday. I'd love a whole album of new material, but I'm grateful that we at least got to hear new stuff, even if it's never officially released. I don't love everything The Cure does, but if these last two songs are any indication of what's to come, then we hopefully have good things to look forward to. All right, Christine, thanks so much for writing in. We really appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's a huge thing to take into consideration, is the fact that just being grateful that we got to hear these two songs, whether they record them, release them, whatever. Might have just been a one-off awesome thing to do for the fans, is play a couple new tunes in the whole grand scheme of the tour there. And I don't know, I appreciate it. So of course we'd love to hear them and be able to listen to better quality versions over and over again. But even if it was a in the moment kind of thing, maybe that's something we all need a little bit more of in this day and age. But I think that going back to the theme of the song, whether it's truly about Robert's mom or just loss in general, I think that is something that a lot of us can really associate with this song, and maybe why we really find already a dear spot in our heart with this tune is because, I don't know, it seemed like 2016 was just big on that for everyone. Maybe we're all just, as Cure fans, getting older, where we can kind of unfortunately we're going to start experiencing this a lot more, losing people that we care about and such. But just seemed like, even the goofiness of celebrities aside, we lost a lot of great celebrities, but just seemed like a lot of people online and stuff were posting about losing people that were close to you in 2016. And unfortunately, I'm no exception. I lost my dad early in 2016. He'd been battling cancer stuff for a long time, but it was about a month before the actual show in Charlotte, and so it was really meant a lot to have this song as a strange but comforting embrace from the Cure, who's always there, it seems like, when shit goes wrong in some form or another. So it was almost eerie in the sense that this song really helped me through that time a lot, and it wasn't the first time too. In 95, I lost my mom when I was only 18, and I don't know, I'm not a super religious dude by any means, and try not to be superstitious even, but there's some part of you, especially when you're younger, that you can't avoid that, and wanting to just get some kind of grand sign from the beyond that they made it wherever they need to go, or maybe they don't go anywhere when you go, and that in itself, but you just kind of want to look for some kind of sign that they made it there okay. And when Wild Mood Swings came out in 96, it was a huge thing for me to hear Treasure, because I was like, what the fuck, if my mom was ever going to try to reach me from the beyond, it would be through a Cure song. She knew that would be the only way that I would pay attention to it, probably. And sure enough, that song is very dear to my heart. And obviously they didn't write it, for my mom, but feeling like that there's some kind of connection to that song and having that song, and much like It Can Never Be the Same for my dad now. And I don't know, maybe it's those little things that help us through those horrible kind of moments, and I'd like to wish that people never have to go through that kind of thing, but we do. We're gonna, the best case scenario, we're the one causing the grief. So I don't know, but it's a horrible thing, but it's comforting, and I do appreciate that The Cure is always somehow able to pull that off, and and just that perfect Robert way of making a fucking beautiful song out of such a horrible thing. And I like the lyrics of that song. It's still kind of almost like he's with whoever he's losing still in those final moments, being the, kind of positive voice, and saying don't worry and such, and it's kind of how that thing works, where you try to be the strong one in a situation like that, and for better or worse, we all know where it's going, and it can never be the same. So anyway, Jesus, I'm on vacation. I shouldn't be getting into all this depressing shit, but the song, so let's step into the light, the more positive note here. And this one's definitely a more upbeat number. It's I like it. I think it does have kind of more of a 413 Dream feel to it right off the bat. But I also kind of feel like that this one's one that could change a lot in production. Like if you kind of did change it up and put more of a acoustic guitars behind it and such, it could take a very wild mood swings turn or something. Could go a lot of different ways if you recorded it differently. But I think the vocal melody and all that of this song really carries it, and it's very catchy. And even though it doesn't seem really as personal, I don't really quite get at, like what Christine was saying, it's hard to really pinpoint the meaning on that one, but it's cool, and I dig it, and it's got a catchy melody, and just a really cool general feel of the melody, and I don't know, and it's weird. I think it really does pair well with It Can Never Be the Same. So I'm going to hand it off to Arusha now, who we haven't heard from for a while, but a great friend of the show, and we always love to hear from Arusha, and she was kind enough to send her thoughts on the two songs, and she kind of focused more on Step Into the Light, which is nice. So let's hear what she has to say about Step Into the Light, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right, we are rolling. Rolling with the wind. Hey Gavin. Hey Donald. This is Arusha. What was I calling myself from the Hollywood Squares? Chet or something? What's his name? I can't remember now. Oh man, he had a great tie. I don't know, this guy that always is on the Hollywood Squares. Anyway, it's been a while since I've reported, or it's 2017 now. Just think, like a year ago we were chit-chatting as I went across the country to follow The Cure. I'm in Times Square. No, I'm not. That's a lie. I'm in Union Square in New York, and it's a beautiful night. It's not too hot, not too cold. The sky is clear. It's one of those nights in New York that you have to take part of and remember why you came here, That's what happens when you move to like a big city like this. It can get overwhelming and forget why the fuck you came here in the first place. I always do. Anyway, we're not here to talk about New York, right? We're here to talk about The Cure. The two new songs. So last year, I was lucky enough to get myself to the first shows in New Orleans, and I saw the last show in Atlanta, and I also saw the last shows in Wembley. And, of course, the first two in New Orleans were very special because you could tell the band was trying out the songs and, getting into what they were going to play and not play for the rest of the tour. So I remember hearing both Step Into the Light and It Can Never Be the Same. Am I even saying the songs right? I'm so bad at this. But I remember hearing them both the first night, I believe. If not Step Into the Light the first night, and then maybe Can Never Be the Same the second night. And I remember thinking that Step Into the Light was just a nice, sort of refreshing, simple song. Like a simple, peaceful, just with the melody. I couldn't tell what the lyrics were, obviously, yet. And, contrast that with It Can Never Be the Same. That was more sort of standard Cure, clearly like starting off with a bang, guitars, going up, and then crashing down into like the bass line, and the whole, like, the way that he says the lyrics, like, don't worry, I said, and all that she said, I said thing that Robert does. And it wasn't it wasn't too long after that I started hearing rumors, I think, that It Can Never Be the Same was about his mother passing. And, I don't know if that's true. I don't know that anybody knows what the song is about yet, because he hasn't said. So, I know that a lot of people are going to talk about that song, and it is a great song. But I would say that both songs, are not fully formed yet, because we don't know what they're going to sound like when they record them, I mean, they fit very well into the set lists, but there's still, to me, like, once the song is recorded, then we know, the vision of the artist, in that capacity, which doesn't, the great thing about the Cure is many, many times they sound even better live than the recordings. But I don't know, I'm really interested in hearing what Step Into the Light is going to sound like when it's recorded, if it's recorded. Maybe it won't ever be, who knows. And I also think that song got overshadowed by It Can Never Be the Same. And I kind of wonder how much, just because the circle that I'm in is these like diehard Cure fans. We all hear these same rumors. I don't know, from people who, are like normal and just go to one Cure concert per 4 years, if how they would feel about the two songs. I think that would be interesting, because I think It Can Never Be the Same got a lot more attention, partially because of the rumors. Not completely. It's a good song. Step Into the Light, I really like, and I liked hearing it because it was like a breath or a break, in whatever sequence of songs they were performing. And, it's like, I love Pornography. I love that record. But when I see the Cure live, part of the reason why I love them is because it's not that whole record. It's not 100 years, followed by, an assault of like incredibly depressing Cure songs. It's all over the place. So Step Into the Light, to me, was like a mint. Not Mint Car, not to be confused with songs like Mint Car, because then the other aspect of Step Into the Light that it is not like Mint Car or Return or Doing the Unstuck or The Hungry Ghost, or what's that cowbell song, the newer one. Anyway, those are that's the kind of stuff that if I had to choose Cure songs that I'm not thrilled about. That sort of color palette is not what I dig. I just, I don't know. I think it's sort of silly and clowny, and it's not my favorite, but whatever. So Step Into the Light, however, is more like the musicality of it reminds me of one of my favorite songs, which is Jupiter Crash. And This Is a Lie, both songs which are off of Wild Mood Swings. And I think Step Into the Light starts with Robert singing, right? He goes, It starts right away with his voice, which is different for him. Usually in those waltz tempos, it's a build-up like in a classical song. Like a classic Cure song takes from classical music in the sense that it'll have like an instrumental build-up before Robert's vocals come in. So like with Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, you have 2 minutes of music before you hear Robert. So by the time you hear Robert's voice, it's like, oh my God, it's so good. And then, similar with Jupiter Crash, similar with This Is a Lie, you establish the musicality of it. And so Step Into the Light reminds me of the tempo and the rhythm and the sort of I'm using the term color palette tonight as those two songs, and I think it's a nice fit with that. It's a reflective song. It's a song about whoever he's talking to, whether it's a person or himself or people in the world, about needing so much to believe in something, and then being confused, like, oh, that didn't work and this didn't work. So it's introspective and contemplative, like a lot of the songs that we love by The Cure, and I really dig it for that reason. And I really dig it that it's like soft and pendular, and somewhat simple. Something I've always really liked about The Cure is like some of the very simple musical arrangements that you can pick up. Like in that song, I would say it's Robert's voice going da 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 da, sort of tiptoeing on the top of the 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. But yeah, if you're not into Step in the Light, or if you want to try a little exercise at home, play that and Jupiter Crash and This Is a Lie all together, and it's so beautiful. All of them are lamentful. I guess Jupiter Crash and This Is a Lie are more lamentful, but they all three have that sort of wanting of something, lamenting, longing. My favorite Brazilian word, saudade, for something, and it's not quite what you think it is, again, versus like Club America or Doing the Unstuck, which is, or Us or Them or whatever, that's more like a declaration of what you should or shouldn't do. This is like perhaps a question. So yeah, that's my spiel. And I guess going back to seeing it live, day one versus day whatever the hell it was in Wembley, both songs became more polished. It Can Never Be the Same, I think, was the stronger of the two as far as performance, but I don't know if that has to do with the response that Robert was getting, or how into it he was. And I really like both of them the same, and it's I'm very curious to see what happens with those, if we will actually get a new record or if they will just be standalone songs. I don't think I have anything else to say. I don't know. I always have loads of things to say and then I forget. But anyway, that's it. Arusha reporting for the Holy Hour podcast. Check out Push, a Cure fan documentary, which I should kind of call a documentary project because I have all kinds of little things in the works. And call me, email, whatever. Tell me what's up. Tell me what you think. All right, over and out.
All right, thanks so much, Arusha. Like I said, great to hear your voice and have you back on the show. Thanks so much for sending that in, and I totally agree with you. So yeah, again, the idea of where could this song go, and yeah, it does have like that cool kind of waltzy vibe, almost of a Jupiter Crash. I like that. So we'll see, man. I hope they record these and put them out. Like, I had the fleeting thought of like, man, it'd be technically pretty easy. Who knows what's in the works? Maybe they've got pretty much a whole album ready to go. There was some rumors floating around from the guy at Schecter Guitars or something. I didn't get the full scoop of what, but he kind of had mentioned that Robert was at least writing, I thought, some new material. But I mean, that kind of goes without saying, right? He's probably always writing stuff out. But I don't know. But it would be fucking great to have these two songs in particular. I mean, why not even just like put them out as a 45 if you don't have a full album? I know Robert's always big on the full album and theme and everything, but Cure fans would love to just have whatever the hell we heard live as a 2-song single. Just put out a fucking single. A-side, B-side, whatever, double A-side. Don't even have to pick one song over the other. But I think we would all totally dig that. Like a record store day thing or just one-off. That would be fucking cool, don't you think? So even bare minimum, they got some good live recordings. Put it out as a fucking live 45. That would be sweet. Like good quality versions, from the live shows. I'd be down with that. Then you could even re-record them for whatever album if you want later. Be a good out if they don't want to like just give up the 2 songs for a throwaway single kind of thing, So who knows? But then I had the extra thought too of and there's probably a loophole or a hole in this theory. So somebody definitely call me out on it if you can figure it out timeline wise, if you're able to follow it better. But remember with 413 Dream how they kept talking about the bonus material, the extra disc worth? There was like a whole other album, worth of stuff that wasn't on that album that he wanted to release. Forget what it was even called, like 414 or something like that or whatever. Maybe these are 2 songs they have already recorded and they were part of that. And they were just carryovers from that he really liked, which would be weird. I mean, I can't imagine 2 songs this good that wouldn't have made it onto 413 Dream. But you know how it gets with those themes and stuff. I mean, Exploding Boy was a B-side. Why not, So maybe they've already been recorded. In a few of the YouTube clips I saw rewatching It Can Never Be the Same, he introduced it as unreleased song. So, I mean, of course the song isn't new to him probably, and you don't want to read too much into it. We're getting super nerdy here, I know. But as far as like conspiracy theorist kind of shit, like technically maybe he's saying it's an unreleased song because it was recorded and there is already a finished studio version of it out there, or not out there, but in his world. So maybe they're already ready to go and they were part of that. Who knows? But it doesn't really matter, I guess, if we don't put it out. So, but we would love to hear it, of course. Of course, going back to that, we're just grateful to have them at the live show. So we'll take what we can get. Do I sound winded? I just got up and started walking around too. So sorry if it sounds like I'm pacing back and forth with the recorder looking out the window at the beach here. And it's because I am pacing back and forth. But I don't know. I guess we'll just kind of leave it at that, And I don't know if you guys definitely have some thoughts or input or good quality recordings of these 2 songs, feel free to post links in the Facebook page of where others that don't know what the fuck we're talking about could listen to these 2 songs and share in the joy. But I think it's cool, and like Christine said too, I mean, if this is any indication of what's to come for a new album, if they were to record a new album, I think that's a really great taste of it. They're not songs that are gonna, like you said, that are just gonna pull in all these new fans. It's not like he's sitting on like a huge single that's gonna be a chart topper. I don't think either of these would really blow away the youth of today and win in millions of new Cure fans, but I think any actual Cure fan that would hear these songs would probably enjoy them on some level, at least, I would think, and really love to have them. So I don't know. I'd like to think I can speak for all of us that we would embrace these songs if Robert and gang are on the fence about whether they should bother recording them or not. But that probably goes without saying, right? So, I don't know. I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to go out on the fucking beach now and enjoy myself. And I hope you guys are wrapping up your summer and enjoying yourselves too. Try not to get all fucking worked up about all the shit going on in the world, and or maybe it is good to get worked up. I don't really know, but let's just go enjoy some sunshine somewhere, and hopefully we can all together figure out this shit. And enjoy the rest of your summer. Thanks for listening. Sorry this was kind of just a on the fly episode, but we'll be back with more super nerd. Well, I guess this was pretty nerdy, wasn't it? All this is pretty nerdy. What am I talking about? All right, guys. I'm going to peace out now before I totally let you see behind the curtain. So be sure to subscribe on iTunes and drop us a comment there in the reviews, and then go over to Instagram and follow us, The Holy Hour Podcast, on Instagram. My personal account has been hacked, so pretty much it's just going to be me on Instagram as The Holy Hour Podcast if you want to get in touch there. So, and we'll throw out feelers as we did for this episode on Instagram. Thank you to everybody that did chime in and talk to us on Instagram when we were setting up this episode many weeks back at this point now. So really do appreciate the comments, and we look forward to catching you soon. Be sure to check out Arusha's project, like she said, Push Cure Fan Documentary. You can get all the latest scoop at curefandocumentary.com, and donate some money and subscribe to all the social media outlets so you don't miss any updates on that. There's going to be lots of cool little things that you can follow along on for sure, and buy some merch at mixedupgifts.com to help with that, and just find tons of cool presents for people and gifts at mixedupgifts.com. And am I missing anything? Drop me an email. Why not? gavinconner@gmail.com. We'll be back soon. Head on Door is still on deck as an album review, and we'll have the bad boy back in here before you know it. And talk hard, my friends. It can never be the same. It can't. It just won't. It can't be the same.
Step out of the shadows, yeah, step into the light.